Welcome to I Wrote That, a podcast where we bring authors and industry experts together to talk about all things books and make the journey to authorship just a little bit easier. My name is Larissa Sohan, and I am the CEO of Next Page Publishing, a hybrid publishing house where we help entrepreneurs write books to grow their businesses. In 2021, I published my first sci-fi novel, The Defender, through a hybrid publishing company, and from that experience, I learned exactly what not to do. When I joined with this very big publishing company, I was put in a system that was designed to push out thousands of books a year, and I was just a cog in the wheel. And it was heartbreaking when my first book was published and it was a flop. In that moment, I made it my mission to found a hybrid publishing company that was going to give aspiring authors the experience that they deserve. Now I'm on a mission to help aspiring authors feel like they are in control of the publishing journey and that they are supported by a team of experts who genuinely want the best for them and their books. If you are in the very beginning of your journey, or maybe you have a manuscript that you're finished and you're not sure how to get it out into the world, I encourage you to reach out to us at nextpagepublishing.net. You can schedule your free discovery call and find out how our team of experts can make your journey to being a published author easy, smooth, and successful. Now, without further ado, let's get on to our next amazing guest and make your journey to authorship a little less complicated. I am so excited anytime we get to bring a marketer onto this show because as authors, this is exclusively the thing we have in common across all genres, across all topics, that no matter where we are in our author career, marketing is something we always need to be thinking about, whether you're at word one or you're just planning or you have 5, 6, 7, 8 books out already. Marketing is something we are always thinking about. So I'm really excited to introduce Katie Carson today. She is a marketing guru. I mean, there's no other way to put it. After a career spanning from everything from the CIA, which I have multiple questions about that, to McKinsey and Company, Katie left corporate behind in October of 2022 and returned to her first love, which was marketing. So happy to have you here. She likes to say that she de-ixtifies marketing, which I totally love, for the intuitive entrepreneur looking to break out of the corporate mindset and have fun with the marketing their business. And this translates to books too. It needs to be fun for us in our books. For intuitive entrepreneurs and authors who need to customize their marketing strategy, Katie offers the anti-cookie cutter approach that lets entrepreneurs tap into their spiritual sides and have fun marketing their business and books with data-driven strategies that feel good. So important that it feels good. And I want to talk about that as we go into the episode, because I'm sure you and I can talk about that for a long time. And in her free time, she loves to explore the Smoky Mountains with her pup, Archie. We were just talking about Archie and his snoring habits.
He snores.
Welcome,
really
Katie.
Thanks, Larissa. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say it's so good to have you here because when we were talking offline, you were talking about how much you are also an avid reader and how a book is on, like becoming an author is on your list of things to do. So to have you in this headspace of someone who is an aspiring author, who's been listening to the show to get all the information that you can, tell us a little bit about the journey that you've gone on in the marketing world to get to where you are today.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like you said, I'm an avid reader. I think I'm up to 65 books this year. A little aggressive, but it's my like pre-bedtime routine. I just love escaping into a good novel before bed. So I actually started with marketing in college. It's what I studied. I did an internship in Spain in marketing, which was super cool. But when I came back, it was like 2009 peak recession here in the US, and I'm from Florida originally, so heavy tourism. There were no jobs. So I ended up in the federal government doing everything from homeland security and infrastructure protection and operations management to ending up in the CIA doing major program management. But there's also a big aspect of psychology and getting to know your audience and learning what makes people tick that ties directly into marketing. And from there I went into learning and development, which for me was really eye-opening from a marketing perspective of the different ways that people absorb information and the different ways that they process information. and what that means for how you can reach your audience and how you engage with them in the long run. From there, I went back to marketing in the corporate world for a performance marketing company and did events, trade shows, corporate communications, social media, email, you name it, before branching out onto my own almost a year ago. October of 2022 is when I kind of got in here. So I bring all of that to bear in my marketing strategies. I just realized that, for so many people, especially women, and especially people like I'm neurodivergent, so especially neurodivergents, we're forced to show up in a certain way in our corporate lives that's not authentic to us. And so my goal with even like my marketing business now is to help people show up in a way that's authentic to them, that feels good to them, that works with who they are instead of going against maybe like if like for instance I'm ADHD. So like working with my ADHD in my marketing instead of battling against it and trying to overcome it is a really big deal. And so I just find that that's usually what my clients are looking for. It's not this, if you follow this framework, you're going to make 10K in the next month, or you're going to sell this many books or this many courses. It's how can I show up in a way that feels good with me, that builds authentic connection with my audience?
Mm-hmm. I would like to dissect everything you just said because it was so good. Let's talk about neurodivergency, because we haven't talked about that a lot on this podcast. And I am also neurodivergent. I'm on the spectrum. I have ADHD, all of the good things that go into what I would classify myself as a hot mess some of these days.
Yes.
And I have very much, like you're talking about, learned to embrace that side of myself, learn to follow the focus that comes with being ADHD sometimes when you get hyper focused on something, and letting go of that need to follow what everyone else is doing, because that doesn't feel right to me
Mm-mm.
as a neurodivergent. And I was listening to another podcast the other day that was talking about her ADHD being her superpower. And I'm curious to know, from a marketing perspective, what do you think of that?
I think it is a superpower. I think that one, it's relatable, right? Like there's so many people now who are actually talking about the things that make them different, like, or, that they may have in common with other people like ADHD. Like I have bonded with other ADHD entrepreneurs and people like that. And so it's been really helpful to just talk about it, to relate, but embracing it as a superpower. So, like you said, when you have those hyper fixated moments, when you've got the energy and the inspiration and the focus to like do the dang thing, do it, follow that. But also giving yourself some grace when you don't, and like learning to work with like your energy flow, right? Like if there are some days where you just can't, you've already built a bunch of content during your hyperfixate period that can get you through those times when you don't have energy. It's stuff like that, like learning how to work with it and those energy flows, that I find super helpful for myself and for my clients.
Yeah. And I think for authors, I mean, it's the same thing with authors that go through my program. And you're making me reflect on, probably it is because of my own ADHD tendencies that we don't build in a schedule for
Right.
content creation. And in this case, books, chapters, modules, things like that. Um, a lot of the programs that are out there, like, you're going to write for 30 to 45 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and you're going to pump out this
Yeah.
book. And that does not work for the people
Mm.
that are attracted to you and I, because of the transparency we have, right? So when it comes to batch creating content, you talk about de-ixtifying
Mhm.
marketing. I love that, because marketing can feel really icky, especially if you're doing it, I'm going to put this in air quotes, wrong. And only in the sense that it's wrong for you. It might
Right.
be perfectly right for someone else, but it feels wrong for you. And it becomes this energy suck. So when someone comes to you and you're getting that vibe that they go through these highs and these lows of creativity, how do you work with them to harness the creativity and give them permission to not be creative when they're just not?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that we do this. Some of my clients are already kind of tracking their like energy flows to like see if there's any patterns to their highs and their lows, right? Especially as women with hormones and things like that, it can be tied to that. So there's a pattern. So, one, recognizing what that pattern is, and two, having systems and automations in place to make it easier for you when you are in those lows. Um, like for me, if you tell me I have to do something for 30 minutes a day every day of the week, I'm immediately gonna not. Like it just ignites this rebellious streak in me that's like, nah, thanks. But like, giving people permission to like, don't necessarily feel like you have to batch content a whole week at a time or a whole month at a time. You can do it day by day if that's what feels good for you. Because I know for a lot of my clients, they can batch some content, right? And have like a content bank of things that they can pull from, but it's giving them the flexibility and the permission to follow their intuition when they feel like they want to post something else, when they feel like they want to change it up. So it's kind of like that balance of like having the backup plan of the content bank and having the freedom to follow your intuition and talk about what you want. And that's where like content repurposing comes in really handy too, because, you know, like I talked about earlier, everybody digests information differently and processes information differently. So there's a lot of ways to make one piece of content go really far, whether
Mhm.
it's, turning something into a video or, a lot of people get really focused on social, but I like to remind people that's not the only place that you have to show up. That's not, you don't have to show up there if you don't want to. But like there's email, there's long form writing, which I feel like a lot of authors maybe resonate with a little bit more. But it's also giving tools like if you're a verbal processor, Google Docs offers a voice to text option. You can
Mhm.
literally dictate what it is you would like to say if you're staring at the blank page, kind of like just is hard to like start, right? Like that writer's block of just staring at a blank page. I struggle with it all the time when I'm writing content, when I'm building out email funnels. But it's really important to just kind of recognize what your strengths are and how it's all about self-awareness is really what it comes down to. How aware are you of how you process information? How aware are you of um, what feels good? But, marketing's about trial and error. So there's going to be some things that you try that maybe have worked for somebody else, but then you realize, oh, that feels really gross to me. Or you may not have seen it done and you just want to try it. Like there's no wrong answer in marketing, which is what I love about it. It's all about trying to see what works and what resonates.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the multi-purposing
Mm.
of content because in two facets. I want to share my marketing strategy with you a little bit and with
Yes.
those listening. As an author and an entrepreneur, I have to kind of wear two hats on my marketing, especially because my primary book is sci-fi. So far from my business of helping people write nonfiction books, like they are polar opposites from each other. So it's like wearing two different marketing hats. But let's talk about marketing for my business. I do some like I do repurpose my content every week based on a single live. And this is where this is not the answer for all people because some people don't like
Right.
going live. But for me, it works really well to on Wednesdays, I plan a live with a topic. And typically I pull that topic from my nonfiction book because it's all about how to write a book. So why wouldn't I? So that's repurpose
Right.
number one. Pull it from a chapter in my book. And then the day before, I'm talking about the live that's coming up. That's my post. The day after, I'm talking about what I talked about in the post. And then on the Friday, it's the Ask Me Anything day. And I talk about what I talked about on Wednesday. Like it's so circular.
Mhm.
But in my opinion, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this approach, it keeps the focus where I want it for the week. And it recycles because not everybody's going to see my Wednesday post, but they're going to hear me
Mhm.
talk about it Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and they go, "Oh, what was that live? I need to check that out." So, yeah. What's your opinion on that approach?
I love that personally because there's a lot of statistics, and I think you've talked about this in one of the episodes that I've listened to before, but like it takes 7 times at least of somebody seeing your content before they interact with it, before they engage with it. That's not them buying, that's not them making a purchase. That's just them like liking or commenting or doing something that engages with your comment, your post. And then it takes like 21 times before somebody actually buys. So that repetition of the topic is super helpful. The repetition in various forms, so like where you're talking about it on your story, or you're posting a graphic about it, like, hey, here's what we talked about yesterday, or like you're giving people the opportunity to engage with you on that specific topic, is a really smart way to repurpose. And you could even take that one step further, right? Like you could take all of that and wrap it up and send it in an email the following Monday and be like, hey, this week we're going to talk about this if you want to tune in, right? Like you can give it that longevity that keeps people coming back. But along those lines, what's really, and especially for those of us with ADHD, what's really hard is consistency. But that I've found to be the biggest key to successful marketing. It's definitely a long game. It's not a viral content instant gratification situation, but the more consistently you show up, the more trust you build with your audience. So if they can expect you to go live on most Wednesdays, right? Like, not saying you have to do it every single Wednesday of the week, but like they know they start looking out for it. They start wondering, oh, hey, I didn't see Larissa's live this week. Let me go look at her profile and check it out. But building that consistency to where you're not just posting a lot like around the time of like a book launch, right? Like you have a new book coming out. If that's the only time your audience hears from you, you're not going to have a very good like marketing success most of the time. You're not going to have the relationship built with your audience that gets them to convert to readers of your content.
Let's talk about, I know I have said this in many of my episodes, but marketing for authors. If you're
Mhm.
listening to this and you're wondering, when should I be thinking about marketing? It's from the day you decide you're going to write a book. It's from the moment the idea forms from dream to goal and you start putting anything on paper, is when you need to start talking about your book, and you need to start understanding who you're marketing this book to and what language they're using and where they're hanging out, which brings me to my next question. Social media is a beast. And I feel like every time I learn it, and I'm not social media um uh like good. That was very poor
Savvy.
language. I'm not good at social media. I even get flustered talking about it. How do people, entrepreneurs, authors, even attempt to keep up with the ever-changing platforms?
Yeah, and I mean, especially when they keep introducing new ones, right? Like Threads just came out, like, which I'm loving, but my approach to this is really kind of unique because it really centers on like, where are your readers for authors? Where are they spending most of their time? Is it on Book Talk? Is it on Instagram? Like, where are they looking for new book recommendations? And that in itself can feel very overwhelming. But when it comes to social media, I recommend like picking one or two platforms where like you feel like your ideal reader is like spending most of their time, and focusing 90% of your effort on those one or two platforms. The other 10% can go to like maintaining proof of life. But like what happens is the more consistent you get with your posting, your engagement, building that connection. And when I say engagement, I mean like starting actual conversations, replying to people in the comments with more than just a thanks, glad you like it, like starting actual conversations via text for those who are introverts, like starting those conversations, building that trust. But that helps build consistency, trust with your audience, but also trust with yourself, that like you showed up the way you said you would, the way you want to, like. And it also builds confidence, right? Like psychology wise, I was attending a workshop the other day on the like hacking failure is what it was called. And the more you set small achievable goals for yourself instead of like overwhelming yourself with like writing a whole book in one sitting, right? Like you don't sit down to do that necessarily. You set some smaller goals and milestones for yourself. When you achieve those, it actually helps like rewire your brain to set you up for future success. Whereas, like, if you try to go out and do, I'm going to post every single day on every single platform for the next 6 months, and you don't, that's just going to get you defeated. That's just going to get you down. And that's not a sustainable way to show up for yourself as an author, because you're right. As an author, you need to start talking about it, engaging with your audience, doing that marketing and building those relationships the minute you decide you're going to write a book. And it keeps going on afterwards, right? Because it's not just about the book launch. You want
Mhm.
continued sales and continued relationships, but that consistency and making sure that it's something that's sustainable for you, whatever that looks like. Like for me in the season I'm in right now, my sustainable baseline is what I call it, is 3 times per week on LinkedIn and Instagram, because that's where most of my clients are, LinkedIn and Instagram. For other people, it may be a different platform, it may be Twitter, it may be Threads, it may be Facebook groups, if that's something that, you know, your readers are into. It's all about finding where your readers are and what is a sustainable baseline for yourself to show up.
Yeah, it's that social media burnout is very, very real. And a bit of a story time. I a lot book talk is huge, right? Book talk is huge in the marketing world for books. Authors have sold millions and millions of copies of their books through book talk. That's not common. That's like, the nuances, but it
Right.
happens. Authors go viral. I want to talk about the impact of going viral and what that can do to a person, because I am an introvert. When you came onto my show, we were talking before we started recording, you said, "Oh, I do this as an extrovert." And my first thought was, ew. I am wholeheartedly introverted. And I have a very modest TikTok account. I have about 4,000 followers. I post, a couple times a week. It's fun, it's casual. I talk about my books, I talk about writing tips, all that fun stuff. I had one TikTok get over 7 million views in one shot.
That's amazing.
And it had like 24,000 comments, it had hundreds of thousands of likes, and it ruined TikTok for me. I had to take a 2-month break from TikTok because it was never what I was looking for. And what that did to me was those little goals you were talking about, I started to get really clear on what was the point of me posting that day. What did I
Mhm.
really want from it? I wanted the 250 views and I wanted the 20 to 30 likes. That's all I wanted. I wanted to talk to my community. I wanted to stay small. I wanted it to be for the people that it was meant to be. A lot of people, and I'm sure you see this, think they want to go viral. They think that's going to be the solution to their business problems, to their author's book selling problems. And from experience, my personal experience, it did not have that effect for me. So when you hear people going viral and the impact it's having on them, what kind of things are you hearing?
Well, so I like to equate it going viral to like winning the like Mega Millions jackpot lottery, right? Like all of a sudden you've got hundreds of millions of dollars and you think winning that is going to solve all of your problems, but in reality it actually breeds a lot more, right? Like you've got relatives coming out of the woodwork, you've got everybody kind of in your face, but like you've got this fame and like people know that you have it. Like it is a double-edged sword, right? Because it's a great thing. It can be awesome, but it's not something that's sustainable, right? Like you have to recognize it for what it is, as an outlier, not something that you need to live up to all the time. Because I feel like that's the biggest thing, is people have one thing go viral and all of a sudden they feel all of this pressure to keep hitting those numbers. But I'm really big into data in addition to like the feels. Like, in data, when you're analyzing it, you look at the patterns and you have to recognize what was an outlier, what made it an outlier, and how can I use what was in that video to help me create future content, to help me get better engagement on future pieces, but without feeling the pressure of hitting all of those same numbers. And I think what you said is really important. What is your objective with your content, right? Like, what is your objective on this platform? It is much better to have quality interaction, quality engagement, quality people on your stuff that like is part of your audience than to have a quantity, right? Like quality over quantity. There's a balance, of course. The bigger the audience, the more chances you're going to like hit a few people that are in your target, but if you're posting specifically for your audience, for your community, you're more likely to get quality interactions and quality, potential leads on people who are going to buy a book, or leads of people who can maybe help you with a speaking opportunity like this one to help you amplify your voice and promote your books and promote your work. And I think that that's where the opportunity of virality is that increased visibility to produce some collaboration opportunities, right? Like, we often don't think about, I mean, in the author world, I feel like it's a little bit more top of mind, like PR and these types of opportunities where you're speaking, you're featured in articles, those sorts of things. But like, collaboration is really a helpful byproduct of virality, but it's also, you know, in the end, it's up to you to decide how you want to handle it. And if for you that's a break for 2 months, I think that's totally reasonable. I keep my notifications off on my socials. It's
Yeah.
totally like anti what most people would tell you to do, but it gives me that anxiety. It gives me that stress. It gives me that urge to constantly check my phone for a dopamine hit because
Mm-hmm.
ADHD. But like, that's what works for me. You don't have to do it, but you do have to find what feels good for you in this moment. How can I handle this sudden onslaught of recognition and interaction?
It comes back to that de-ixifying, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think marketing, to get really good at marketing, you have to become really self-aware of
Mm-hmm.
why you're doing this, what makes you feel good, what feels good for you, what feels natural, who you're attracting, like who do you want to attract into your life? Because when I went viral, I had people commenting on my hair, on my face, on my
Mm-hmm.
background. They
Mm-hmm.
were calling me a cheater because I was reading audiobooks. Like, of course there was 10% of the comments were those things. Everything else was
Right.
really, really nice. But I am the type of person that has a hard time with those type of comments, right? And it hit me hard. And it really reminded me of who I'm trying to attract,
Mm-hmm.
what I need to be saying to them, because this video, obviously, it wasn't even to my brand, which is the funny and disappointing. It was like a 7-second clip. And it was nothing. Anyways, it did result in, my other videos getting more views as well, people
Right.
checking out my profile, more follows and things like that. But were they the right people? Answer is no. They weren't.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't the right people for me. Okay, I wanna unfortunately wrap up this conversation. I think we could go forever on
I
this
know.
because you touched on something equally as important, which is we did social media marketing, mass media marketing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole topic we could have, and I know for those of you listening, we have had I believe Bridget Sisko was on the podcast. Her episode is out as
Bridget.
well. She's amazing. You can check out her podcast on how to handle the media side of marketing. But I do want to ask, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram because, like I said, that's where I spend a lot of my time. You'll get a lot of Archie content, not just business. But that's Lady Katie Carson. Because I own a small piece of land in the Highlands and now I'm officially a lady. But so you can find me there. My website is kjcarson.com. So there you can find everything from other interviews that I've done. I've got a bunch of resources there. I have a guide for content repurposing that you can download for free. And you can also book a free consult with me. Like you said, I'm an extrovert and I love talking to people and could probably talk to a wall for days. But I love connecting with people. So I like to offer a free 30-minute consult where we just get to know each other. You can pick my brain, ask me questions. We can do some brainstorming. But those are all of the ways that you can reach me.
Absolutely. And we're going to put all of those links down in the show notes so you can reach out directly to Katie. And I highly recommend, obviously, you can tell she's very personal and approachable, to reach out to her and just have the conversation on how can you start marketing your book in a way that is de-ixtified, in a way that feels good for you. Okay, Katie, last question. What advice do you have for aspiring or established authors when it comes to marketing?
Consistency, show up, not just when you're launching or wanting somebody to buy, right? Um, but also show up as a full person. People trust people. And so that helps build that trust and relationship with your audience to get them to become loyal readers, right? Not just reading one of your books, but all of your books.
And I want to throw, you just said you like data. You like data. I'm going to throw
Mhm.
two absolutely unverified, totally don't fact check these pieces of data at all.
My
But
favorite
when it
kind.
comes to, I know, right? I love it. I'm just going to make stuff up. When it comes to marketing your book, 10% of the marketing starts when you're writing your book.
Hmm.
10% is the launch. The remaining 80% is the lifetime of your
Yeah.
book. That is the energy levels you need to be putting into it. So many people think launch is the be all end all. Get this right, and your whole book is set up for success for its life. It is not. You can have the best launch in the world, and the next week you can sell 0 copies. So you
Hmm.
need to be thinking 80% of your marketing game comes after the book has launched. And the second one, and again, totally unverified, would love to hear if you have different numbers that you're pulling out of your butt, like I am. People buy from people. So the
Hmm.
content that you're sharing, I'm going to say 75% of it needs to be you as a person,
Yeah.
25% is the selling. And that's even a high ratio. You could probably dip down to 15% is actually selling your book. The other 85% is just you as a person. What went into writing this book? Why did you write this book? What are the stories behind this book? How has this book affected your life? What are the goals? There's so many ways, like you said, you can show up as a whole person that isn't just buy my book,
Right.
right? There's so many ways. So,
What are
yeah.
you reading right now, right? Like most authors are pretty avid readers, I feel like most of the time. What book most impacted your life? What inspired you to start writing? Like all of those personal details are so impactful when it comes to your marketing, outside of just buy my book. It's really great.
Yeah. I mean, that's very important. You always
Yeah.
want to have that, I would say it like once a week, that
Yeah.
call to action of where they can find your book, how they can get it,
Mhm.
how they could help you as an author. You want to keep doing this for the rest of your life, or you're going to need the support of your readers. So ask for it.
Yeah.
Have clear call to actions. That was wonderful, Katie. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much, Larissa. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of I Wrote That. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our show so you don't miss any of our upcoming guests. And if this has led you to some inspiration to want to get started on your own authorship journey, whether you just have an idea or you have a manuscript that you're ready to publish, reach out to us at nextpagepublishing.net and we will match you up with our team of experts to make the journey simple, easy, and smooth.